Hey, what's up? Eric Galvez again with Disability Guerrillas, and I've got some great guests today. I've got Krystina and Alex. Very excited to have them on the podcast here. And what we'll do is we'll have them introduce themselves because I definitely cannot do them justice. So, yeah, Krystina, can you go ahead and introduce yourself first?
Yep, I'm Krystina Johnson. I'm the Director of Community Engagement for Disability Network Washtenaw Monroe Livingston. And I've been here for 6 years in a couple of different roles, but most recently as Director of Community Engagement. My cat is really trying to join us.
Okay, and actually, Alex, can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Alex Gossage. I'm the Executive Director of Disability Network Washtenaw Monroe Livingston. I've been with the organization for almost 19 years as a staff, and just prior to that, I was with the organization for a couple of years as AmeriCorps Vista.
How long has a disability network been around Ann Arbor?
Yeah, so we were founded actually in 1976. So we were, it's almost our 50th anniversary. We were founded as the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living. And so we are part of the independent living movement. We are a center for independent living, just like so many more organizations are around the country, and providing services and supports and advocacy for the disability community.
Like, what kind of? I'm just curious. Like, what kind of events do you guys do?
Yeah, we have a lot of events. We do a lot of one-off events, but a lot of regular programming as well. In terms of one-off events, tomorrow night we're getting ready to host our Halloween trunk or treat and dance for ages 14 plus for all disabilities. Welcome to come out and have a great time with us at our office in Ann Arbor. We also do some holiday markets around the holidays where we support local artists with disabilities and selling their handmade wares. So that's coming up. And then in July, we have a really big annual celebration for the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. This past July, we had record-setting attendance with like 225 people came out. So the word's getting out. It's a great event. So it's bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So you said there's another event coming up tomorrow?
Yep, that's our trunk or treat event. So it's a trunk or treat and then a dance right after. And so everyone can wear costumes or not. It's up to them, but we have a really great time either way. Dance on the night away.
Okay, cool. So you said your attendance has been going up. Like, like what exactly do you plan on doing at the event? It's just like a Halloween party, or like?
Yeah, essentially it's a Halloween party. We're going to hand out candy in the parking lot from everyone's cars. And then we decorate our warehouse art studio, clear it out so there's no furniture in there. And we turn the lights off and put on some spooky lighting and play some fun music. And we dance for a couple hours.
So what is the age range of people that actually go?
It's typically ages 14 plus. We have folks that have been at our dance that are right at that cusp, or 13, maybe even, all the way up to folks in their 60s and 70s come out.
Oh, really? Wow.
Really open to anyone.
So, Krystina, I do want to ask you, so like, what was the best costume that you saw last year?
Ooh, last year we had a lot. I like handmade costumes, so anyone who comes out with something that they made themselves, I always think is really cool. We've got pizza. We've got the tunes.
Yeah, well, as long as you got pizza,
You know, what more could you ask for?
Yeah.
This will be my first year going. I haven't had a chance to go in the last couple of years with just some family things and whatnot. So excited to be able to join tomorrow and just have a little fun at the end of the week.
Very cool, man. So actually, Krystina, I did want to ask you first off, like, how did you get involved with the Disability Network?
Oh, that was a great question, a great story. A close family friend of mine is actually our director of core services. And I had mentioned to her in passing one day that I really love the sound of my own voice and talking in front of groups of people.
Okay.
And she contacted me a few months later and was like, "We're hiring for an employment specialist, and we need someone who wants to speak in front of crowds."
Okay.
And I thought of you, and I was like, "Yes, please."
That'd be cool. So, Alex, can I ask you how you got involved with the Disability Network?
Yeah, so I have spina bifida. I've had a disability my whole life, but did not really grow up in the disability community in any real substantive way. And I think after when I was done with college, I moved back. I moved to Ann Arbor, which is where my parents were at the time, and it just so happened that the location of Disability Network at that time was right across from where I used to get my hair cut.
Okay.
And so I said, okay, what's that place? What do they do there? And it looks like it's for folks with disabilities. And just checked it out, and I've been here ever since.
Very cool. Like, so I think I read somewhere online that you went to school out in California.
Yep.
Where exactly did you go to school?
I went to UC Santa Barbara,
Oh,
so we're
okay.
kind of Central Coast.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually in San Diego for, gosh, a good 9 years
Okay.
before, but yeah, the weather out there is incredible. But
The
definitely,
weather's good, but I'm a Midwest boy at heart, and so I felt more comfortable moving back here. Most of my life's been in the Midwest, so
okay, cool. So what brought you out to California?
I had dreams of being a marine biologist, and then I found out I was really bad at chemistry and math and other sciences,
Okay,
and so that ended that journey, and then just stuck around for a while, and then came back here, like I said.
yeah. Now, what was your degree in?
Political science and history. So
Okay,
during my first year, I pivoted relatively quickly after realizing just how challenging those some of those courses were for me. And yeah, that at the time, I think that was just the places, the things I was most interested in, and it made the most sense. And I wanted to stay at the school, so that's what I did.
so like you said, you've been with the Disability Network for 19 years.
Yep,
Oh
just
wow.
about
Wow.
next month it'll be 19 years.
So, what would you say is the biggest difference between 19 years ago and today? Like, what's the biggest change in disability advocacy or whatnot?
I think a lot of the issues that we talk about that we work on in the community advocacy wise are still the same. Affordable, accessible housing
Yeah.
is still lacking in the community. Any meaningful public transportation that'll get you from county to county is still lacking. Access to those kinds of services is something that still needs improvement. Employment continues to be a focus. I mean, for as many things as I think that have started to change in the last year, in the last few years since COVID, even a lot of the big issues have stayed the same. And I think now the big concern is really around a lot of basic needs kinds of things. How are people with disabilities, especially if they're not able to work, how are they able to live, and how are changes to Medicaid going to affect their life? How are changes to SNAP benefits and food stamps and things like that going to affect their life? And really just trying to support folks at a very foundational level, and then also provide those opportunities that, like Krystina was talking about earlier, that are more of those social engagement pieces, because uh, so much research at this point shows that social determinants of health are an incredibly big deal, that loneliness has physical effects on one's health, and so really just trying to bring people together, trying to create community is just so incredibly important.
One thing that I found is that disability is very isolating, and I think the more community events that you guys do, the better, because like it just brings people. People need a reason to go out.
A lot of folks, I think, do move to Ann Arbor because there are additional resources that aren't in, especially smaller communities. There is public transportation if you live within its boundaries. There is access to world-class health systems if you're
Yeah.
able to access those. So I've talked to a lot of people over the years that moved out this way specifically because of the resources that were available to them. think our paratransit system, probably in all three of the counties that we serve, has changed a lot over the years. It's gone from having a few riders to having what feels like way too many riders, trying to shift the way that they provide services. Whether it's a carpool sort of situation or individual rides, and so there's been a lot of changes with paratransit in the area. I think down in Monroe and up in Livingston County, they continue to try to grow services there, but the resources they have available to them are also very limited in a lot of ways, and that creates issues as they try to build up as well.
Now, Krystina, can I ask you, like, how big is the disability community here in Washtenaw County, Washtenaw Monroe and Livingston? Is it pretty big compared to like Detroit, or like? I just want to get a clear picture of it.
I think our disability community is pretty wide in all three of our counties. I would say Ann Arbor probably has the biggest out of the three that we serve. I think there's quite a large population in Monroe as well.
Do you find more parents of people with disabilities are more involved than the actual people with disabilities, or like how is that dynamic? Like, what are the majority of your constituents?
The majority of our constituents are people with disabilities. We do work with families, but for the most part, our focus is
Mostly
trying to make sure that the individual with the disability has as much personal agency and choice over their lives as possible. And family members can be great advocates for their family, for their child with a disability, their family member with a disability, and they can also be a barrier to greater growth. And so there can be a lot of balancing to do when you're trying to work with a young person who's going to be eventually transitioning into the community out of secondary school, out of high school, or young adult programs, those kinds of things.
I did want to ask you, one of the big focuses of the Disability Guerrillas is physical activity and exercise. I was wondering, do you guys have any programs that address that?
So we years ago we had some programs specifically around recreation for people with disabilities. There definitely are centers for independent living here in Michigan that focus on that. We've chosen, because there are groups like University of Michigan Adaptive Sports and Fitness, there are groups like UMAIS that are providing these recreational opportunities for youth with disabilities and adults with disabilities, that we would kind of take a different tact and really focus in on the arts space. And so, we do partner with those organizations, though. University of Michigan Adaptive Sports and Fitness has a fitness center in our space that we have together. It's open to the community. The equipment is accessible for folks with varying levels of abilities. And there are definitely classes and other things going on in our office in the evenings, on weekends sometimes. And we try to, create those opportunities for people.
Okay, so Krystina, can I ask you, like, how busy is your office like during the week? We have a lot of like, I guess, constituents come visit you guys, or like.
Well, I'll tell you what, Eric, it felt very busy today because our front desk staff member was at another office and I was answering the door all day. So to me, it felt very busy today specifically. I think Wednesdays and Thursdays in the Ann Arbor office tend to be the busiest because we have a couple programs that happen on Thursdays. We have a large art class followed by our theater program. And so that gets a lot of people in and out of the door. We do have a durable medical equipment loan closet. And so we had several people come in today to pick up or drop off items. So we'll take and lend out wheelchairs, walkers, commodes, shower chairs, any smaller durable medical equipment. And that's been pretty popular, I will say, with our community. But typically Wednesdays and Thursdays are pretty busy for us.
Yeah, okay. So do you guys actually host a lot of events at your space also?
Yes, we have regular events like the few I mentioned in the beginning, our harvest gathering, ADA celebration, and then we have regularly scheduled programming, our art class, our theater class. I know I'm missing a couple right off the top of my head. We have a few peer support groups that meet also. A lot of those are hybrid, so people have an option. We're getting ready to host a town hall in November about the changes that people are facing, excuse me, for benefit changes that are coming down the pipeline that a lot of us are about to have to take on and think about how we're going to tackle that on an individual and a system-wide level. So there's always something going on at Disability Network.
I'm assuming you get grants or funds or private funds from people, or do you get government grants?
So we have a mix of funding, but I would say a majority of our funding, probably not majority, the largest chunk of our funding is based on state funds. And
Okay.
then after that, we receive a good chunk of funding for various programs through the federal government, through Medicaid services that we provide to individuals that have Medicaid. And so, yeah, there are a lot of concerns right now. And it's really just based off of all the uncertainty that we see around us. Our particular program, Centers for Independent Living, seems to be safe at this time. But that's not to say that it won't that it will always be that way. I think we're looking at changes to Medicaid coming down in the next couple of years here, and that I think is going to wreak a lot of havoc with budgets, both at the federal and state level, and that's going to cause a reduction in services. We may not have to stop doing some of the things that we do fairly regularly now, such as nursing facility transition. We may have to cut back on some of the more fun things that we're doing to really focus in again on those really basic foundational needs. Our work and our purpose is to figure out and to understand and react to what the needs are of the community. So, we're not trying to create ideas because we want to do them and we think they're fun or a good idea. We're listening to people in the community and learning from them as to what is the best way that we can serve our community.
Actually, Alex, so can I ask you, like, I'm assuming you collaborate with a lot of different organizations. Who are some of the organizations that you do collaborate with, and what do you guys do?
So I mentioned some of the recreation programs earlier through University of Michigan and Michigan Medicine.
Right.
Both of those entities are partners with us in a variety of ways. I would say you'd want to look at it kind of on a departmental level because both institutions are so large. But we also work with a lot of community organizations throughout our 3 counties, whether that's Trinity Health or organizations that are focused on housing and housing advocacy. We'll work with local governments. So there really is a whole wide variety of organizations that we partner with, and it's different from county to county. In Washtenaw County, there are thousands of nonprofit community organizations. Those level of resources aren't necessarily available in Monroe County or in Livingston County. And so really what we do in each county can oftentimes be very different just because sometimes we're filling a specific need in one area that we don't need to fill in another area because somebody else is already doing it. I think a lot of the collaboration that we do is really more about information sharing.
Okay.
And Krystina can talk a little bit about the events, I think, where we're doing some partnering, but it's connecting folks to resources related to benefits, housing, employment readiness, and working with organizations like Michigan Rehabilitation Services or American Dream Employment Network to help support folks in whatever their employment journey is. We'll work with local community mental health and other organizations to help folks understand what their benefits are. Same thing with DHHS or Department of Health and Human Services. So I think the core of our work is really focused on individuals in a lot of ways, on supporting them and achieving their goals. And so the work that we do is varied quite a bit. But Krystina, you can talk a little bit about some of our partners with events over the years.
Well, a great one that I want to mention is an upcoming Lunch and Learn that we're hosting. It's a series launch for us. We're launching some Lunch and Learn series that are for our staff, but open to some community members to attend as well. And the first one coming up next week on Wednesdays with JFS or Jewish Family Services. So that's another way that we're trying to collaborate across the community to highlight these different agencies and organizations that are doing work with and for the disability community. Like Alex said, we've done a lot of work with MRS, launched some summer employment programs for youth with disabilities so they can get out and get some work experience and to put on their resumes, which is really amazing. I do want to give a special shout out to Adaptive Sports and Fitness from U of M because they help out with my summer camp every year. And they come in and they help us teach, expose the youth to some athletics that maybe they've not been familiar with. Last year we played bocce ball, and that was the hit of the summer. We've done seated basketball, seated volleyball, and they bring out the accessible bikes. That's probably actually number one over bocce is the bikes. They get really pumped for that. Our youth do. So,
Wow, cool, very cool. Well, what I want to do here is I don't know, like I know some of you have seen some of the interviews before, but yeah, the whole purpose of the next section is just to kind of humanize the disability experience. So, what I want to do with you guys is ask you some very interesting questions, I guess you could say. But yeah, well, I just want to make everyone uh, understand you. So, are you guys ready to enter the Disability Guerrillas hot seat?
All right.
oh
You
yeah.
ready to go? Okay. The
Okay.
first question here: what is your theme?
Oh, my my theme song is "Hello" by Lionel Richie, and our arts and program manager will find that very hilarious. I'm just constantly singing it. It's always stuck in the back of my mind. I don't know why.
Okay. Okay, and Alex, how about you?
That is a really good question. I don't know, but I just watched the coolest video about with Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen, and so I like really upbeat things like that oftentimes.
I mean, it is a classic. That's a good jam.
Yeah. Okay, again, we'll start with you, Christina.
Okay.
Right. Who is your personal hero?
Who is my personal hero? I'm going to be cheesy, and I'm going to say it's my mom. She really went all out for me as a kid, even as an adult. I mean, I'm in my late 30s, and I'm constantly calling her and like, hey, what is this thing? And should I go to the doctor?
Yeah.
Or how do I handle this? So she just really made sure that growing up, we had access to things that we needed and wanted, and were able to do what we wanted, and always been very supportive.
Okay. And you, Alex, how about you?
I'd say it's both my parents. I think my mom advocated like hell for me over the years, especially when I was really, really young, and she pushed me to become more independent when I needed that piece. And my dad spent his life making sure his family had the things that they needed. So I would say both of them.
Okay, cool. All right, actually, I'm going to switch things up here a little bit. Alex, I'm going to start with you, but here's the next question. How do you unwind after a tough day?
Usually playing video games, to be perfectly honest. That's probably the biggest thing that I will go to. If it's been a really challenging day, maybe video games with a beer.
Okay. So, can I ask you what game?
Gosh, what am I playing right now? I switch around a fair bit, or I have been these days at least. And I'm waiting for some other games to come out. Mostly role-playing games, mostly like open world games. I don't typically do games with groups. I prefer to just do it myself, so I can follow a story and kind of not have to worry about other people around me doing things.
Gotcha. All right, and Christina, how about you? How do you
I come home and I spend a lot of time with my animals. I have 4 cats, 2 dogs, and 2 turtles. So that's what I do in the evening.
How do you have 2 turtles?
Oh, that's a great question. My brother's kids got them and decided they didn't want them and said, "Oh, Aunt Christina will take them."
Okay, there you go. All right. So, Alex, I'm going to start with you again.
Okay.
What is your guilty pleasure?
I watch these really terrible, tacky shows on MTV, like Catfish and Caught in a Secret Relationship and those kinds of things, and I just think they're funny as hell. So it's those really tacky shows. Those are my guilty pleasure.
Okay. And Christina, how about you?
I don't think I have a guilty pleasure. I'm pretty loud and proud about most things.
Okay.
But I spend a lot of time reading or listening to true crime podcasts, so that would probably be up there.
Okay. All right, next question. I'm gonna skip ahead here. Yeah, we'll start with you, Christina. What is your favorite website?
Okay, for work, my favorite website is dnwml.org.
Okay.
My personal favorite website, I spend a lot of time on TikTok. It's not a website as much as an
Really?
app, but
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And how about you, Alex?
I also really like www.dnwml.org. But I, like Christina, I'm probably more on apps than website. I use a lot. I'm on Reddit a lot, and not necessarily on a particular subreddit. It's just floating around the whole thing, looking at whatever wild and weird thing is happening in the world these days.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And Christina, I'm going to start with you here. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. Or actually, you know what? I think both of you can answer this next question. All right. You guys ready?
Yes.
Name 3 Lindsay Lohan movies.
Oh, The Parent Trap.
Okay, that's one.
Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday, that's the one I could remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
Freaky Friday the 2nd. Whatever just came out, I think.
Mean Girls, that's another one,
There you
right?
go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the one everyone's screaming at home now, like Mean Girls.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay. All right. Alex, I'll start with you. What was your favorite toy growing up?
My favorite toy.
Yep.
Huh. Haven't thought about that in a really long time.
Yeah.
I played with a lot of GI Joes and He-Man. I grew up in the '80s, so we had all the cool cartoon toys, GI Joe and He-Man, and but I also had other things like cool blocks and stuff where you could build things. It was really all over the place. I don't know that I had a particular thing until I started playing video games. I don't think I had
It
a
wasn't like
particular.
Super Nintendo or something.
Yeah, until I finally got one of those and finally got my parents to break down and do that. If it was
Okay.
just other kinds of toys, it was probably GI Joes, He-Mans, those kinds of things.
Gotcha. All right. And Christina, how about you?
Oh, I was a Barbie girl through and through. That's all I wanted to do.
Barbie. Okay.
Barbie all day, every day.
Okay. Now the next question is really controversial, so I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. But here it is. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no? And we'll start with Christine.
Well, I'm going to give you my personal controversial opinion, and that's I don't even like pizza. So,
Boo!
Yeah, boo.
but I will eat pineapple on a pizza. It doesn't bother me.
Okay. Okay. And Alex, how about you?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me the least bit. I have no problem with pineapple on pizza. I don't know why people get so worked up about that.
Well, here's a little fact. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it was actually created in Canada, putting pineapple on pizza. So
Yeah, that makes sense. When I was younger, I remember there were pineapple and Canadian bacon.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep. Yeah, because when I was growing up, we used to go to Toronto a lot to visit family, and that was the first place I had pineapple on pizza. And I was like, what is it? Turns out it's actually okay. I don't mind. Right. And this is the last question here. Any parting words for people? Any words of advice for people with disabilities or professionals?
Ooh, who do you want to go first?
Let's go with you, Christina. We'll go ladies
Okay.
first. So,
I think my personal model that I try to work by and work into a lot of the stuff that we do is that people with disabilities can have fun for the sake of having fun. So allow yourself to have fun just to have fun.
okay, cool. Alex, any parting words of advice?
Vote early and vote often. I grew up in the Chicago area, so I would say that's the biggest thing. You can make a huge difference in your community. You can make a huge difference in your neighborhood. You just need to work on being present, being available, and just be yourself. You are valuable and great just the way you are.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the hot seat here, but definitely appreciate you guys taking part in this. But yeah, like I really want to say thanks for hanging out because honestly, I really think that there's going to be a very strong movement in disability advocacy, over the next few years. So, this is great. I'm so glad to hang out with you guys, and I look forward to seeing what else you guys do because I definitely want to take part in some of that. So, yeah, thank you very much. And actually,
Absolutely. I'm just always glad to see that more and more people are trying to get people with disabilities active and going, and that there are so many more resources and ways to do that weren't available, when I was a kid. So thank you for what you're doing, and I'd love to hear what you've got coming up, if anything else, and what you've got going on in the future.
appreciate what you guys are doing, and thank you so much for hanging out. Like,
Thank
if you
you.
guys, yeah, if you guys know any other organizations that we should, interview, definitely let me know because I would love to learn more about the community here in Ann Arbor, Washtenaw County.
Yeah.
All right, will do.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
Thank
guys.
you.